It was just a fun time for, half a dozen girls who decided that we needed to adapt. We needed to learn to do something that was foreign. And we were probably of a generation where our mothers and our grandmothers were still in that, making the sandwiches and doing that. And in an emergency situation, we were wanting another role. It was a really hot December day and there was a big bushfire out of town, and it started in a big paddock way out of town. So all the men had jumped on the fire truck, the bushfire truck, and headed out to fight that fire, which left basically a few women in town and a lot of kids. And a fire started just over the road there, and this fire, it was hot, it was windy, the dust was blowing. There was just a bunch of women and a dozen kids over the back with wet bags. And then Tommy Glasgow came down the street with the little red fire truck. And that truck had always sat in the shed. None of us ever knew how to use it. There was about 100 gallons of water on board. And we got it going. It kind of slowed things a little, but then a big truck from Hungary was coming through to the main fire. And they came along and they put it out. So after that, it was, this is ridiculous. I thought we have to learn how to use these things, because otherwise, we could have lost our town that day. We could have lost lives that day. We just knew that we needed the skills. We got together, half a dozen of us, and said, righto, let's learn how to use this truck. That's what we did. We all got together and we'd fire that little girl up and take her up and hook her into a water main and pretend to put fires out. The adaptation was hard because it took a lot of courage for us to, we had a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of blokes who thought we were nuts. But at the end of the day, it was about pulling together as a community and saying, well, this was a need for our community, and we took it on board to fill that gap.
In 2019, we're living in Lawson and the big bushfires came through and everybody was working, all the fire brigades were out and all my friends in my community were working hard to help put these fires out. And I remember wanting to help, but it wasn't the right time. I hadn't signed up, I hadn't done the training, and so I couldn't be a part of the community that was trying to fight back these fires. And so when I moved out to Lithgow, I realized that I didn't ever want to feel helpless like that again, and I want to be proactive, and so I joined the VRA. Every call out is different. We respond to things from road crashes, to lost bushwalkers, to canyoners, to cats stuck in roofs, to people stuck under houses. The range is quite wide, and so being ready and willing to adapt to whatever is in front of us is so important. And how we do that is by that preparation before, not being reactive, but proactive. And so I think that applies in all areas as well, not just rescue, but within community. Being in a regional community, everybody knows everybody, and that's an amazing gift because when we need to adapt, we're not doing it by ourselves. At Link, we work with a lot of families and youth, and part of what I do here is try to provide a lot of opportunities for people to connect with each other.
Well, when we first started Boomerang Bags, it was mostly to get rid of plastic out of the environment and get rid of the single-use plastic, and that has been very successful, and there's way less plastic bags out there now. But we still keep going because as much as anything, we get to have conversations about the environment. Every time we hand out a bag, we talk about climate change and whatever. But much more than that, we actually have connection with all the people in the community. As a group, we have a great time together. And I think even the ladies who started the whole project all those years ago, they say now it's so much more than about bags. It's all about the people and how we help people just by connecting with them.
In both my roles, we see parts the community that many people don't get to see. And I think what that's taught me is that we are not exempt from that. And so it's important that we are proactive and we do take the time to be prepared for when that might happen to us. So adaptation means to me, life's never straightforward. There's always going to be something thrown at you, and how we cope with those changes determines how we're going to proceed moving forward.